Rivera. Today I will be doing a presentation that is based on the Epic of Sundiata, and this is for the humanities class that is led by Professor Lilian Huerta. So here are some of the basic facts of the Epic of Sundiata. The story is initially opened and told by a griot, who is someone who retells the history that they have seen or heard of and keeps it circulating through people by word of mouth. These are, one of the key figures of African culture. They're essentially those who are the center of the campfire and just retell like instances that they feel are important to the history of Africa, and it also serves as well a form of entertainment. The story of Sundiata follows the point of him being conceived and to him ultimately founding the Mali Empire. The story actually begins with his father being told that he will, give birth to a great ruler, but in order to do so, he must, conceive his son with a foretold woman. So, in order to actually get, to the point of having to make the baby, he has to go through a bunch of like hoops and hurdles. He has to go to a far off kingdom and actually get the woman that they have said, this is going to be the mother. They have to go through a couple of hoops and like to add like a little sprinkle. She's like a hunchback and like really ugly. So, I guess it made it easy for them, but it also made it hard for them in a way. Um, Also, she doesn't want to make the baby with him, and she doesn't do it until he gets a wraith out of her, which is like an evil spirit. And then ultimately, Sundiata is conceived, but that's not really the end of his troubles. He has to go through a lot of things like he becomes crippled at a very early age and doesn't actually walk until he becomes 7. But that's not, of course, that's not like where the story gets happy. He is ultimately just like shunned and like, talked bad about by like the people that are nearest him. So his father has like another wife and another son, and they are ultimately, the originators of bad rumors of him and his mother. So the culmination of these rumors and ultimately like his other son rising to power causes Sundiata to be exiled. And through this exile, he goes through a lot of things like people being very hospitable or people being like very rude towards him as he has to go from asylum to asylum. And ultimately, he grows up, harnessing all these like experiences and skills, and he has to, be called upon due to the fact that an ancient sorcerer and an evil sorcerer like takes control over his old kingdom. So this causes him to go out and actually have to go to all the asylums he's been to and raise up an army in order to face this sorcerer king. And ultimately, he does manage to succeed and overthrow the sorcerer king with the sorcerer king's nephew, whom the sorcerer king betrayed. The story ultimately ends with the griot praising Sundiata for founding the Mali Empire and creating the eternal rule. The cultural context of the Epic of Sundiata. In ancient times, the Epic of Sundiata was often told in the forms of an oral poem by the griots in order to entertain others, or simply to share the tale that foretold the origin of the monumental Mali Empire. So, in a sense, it was as if like people were just like bored or they wanted some entertainment. The griot would come forth and just be like, "Okay, we're gonna tell the tale of like Sundiata Day," and those who hadn't heard it would often be enticed to listen to it, and it will also serve like as an entertainment for like the little kids. It also served as a story which shared and instilled key themes of African culture, like the importance of family and the fulfillment of personal destiny. And not only did the Epic of Sundiata serve as an entertainment tool for children and those willing to listen, it served as a way for the griots to practice the act of retelling history and strengthening the traits of their African tradition. The contemporary significance of the Epic of Sundiata. The story of Sundiata is an extremely popular tale that is often retold in various parts of West Africa, and it was essentially the version of Beowulf and serves as a way to entertain and educate. So, like I said previously, it's very similar to those kind of like bedtime tales or like those epics that you tell like kids in order to entertain them or like build some sort of like, oh, this is what good versus evil should be. The tale of Sundiata gives insight into various aspects of ancient culture, like the importance of family, mythical aspects of storytelling like fulfillment of prophecy and magic playing a key role in the outcomes of the story. And the Epic of Sundiata also serves as a rich source of Mali Empire culture and current day storytelling. It helps to lay out various topics that we see in modern storytelling like exile, self improvement, returning home, and achieving victory over evil. It also helps paint a picture of the behaviors of the people of ancient Africa before the Mali Empire came to be. So this is actually one of the oldest known, um, well, just stories in general. This was passed down from from griot to griot since like the 1300s, and it's actually older than the story that I compared it to, Beowulf. So I feel like as if like this story does help paint some of the themes that we see a lot today, like having to leave someone's home and then ultimately returning, or having to improve oneself in order to become the necessary person that can triumph over evil. I enjoyed a lot of the connections I could make to like actual modern works, and what I believe is something that inspired them. And these right here are my sources cited, and I hope you enjoyed and have a good day.